Marvin Priefert was destined to be an inventor, but even he couldn't have imagined that his invention would lay the foundation for the company that is now recognized as America's #1 name in farm, ranch, and rodeo equipment. Born in Nebraska in 1923, Marvin's passion for design, mechanics, and invention was apparent from an early age.
He was an inventor. He was a real genius.
He could fix anything. I mean, it didn't matter. The car, the clock, your watch, or whatever. When our dad passed away, it was 1936, and Marvin was 13. So it meant a lot to the family, you know, for Marvin to be a leader because he was a natural-born leader.
In 1942, Marvin joined the Navy to serve in the Second World War. Upon his return in 1945, Marvin married his sweetheart, Virginia Johnny Johnson. Johnny gave birth to their first child in 1948, a son named Bill. Twin girls, Mickey and Vicky, followed in 1949.
So getting to Texas in the cattle business, only God knows how we did that because it was against my dad's philosophy. But he sold his wheat farm in Nebraska, moved to the Rio Grande Valley, and bought a 40-acre orange grove, and 10 days later it froze out. So that was God's way of saying, you don't belong here.
I knew as long as I had Marvin, he would build something and we'd survive because he had the ability. But the Lord just gave him a talent that he couldn't get away from.
And his wife, 2 girls, and Bill got in their station wagon and started driving over Texas.
Marvin, who had always been a farmer, had now moved his family right into the heart of cattle country. Embracing the change, Marvin set out to become a rancher and to learn the workings of the livestock industry.
Yeah, in 1962, we moved to Mount Pleasant, Texas. Dad moved us here. And he didn't believe in owning anything that eats. Turn the motors off in the wintertime and stop the expense. So him getting in the cattle business was just against his philosophy. But we did, and God does know why. We didn't at the time. So we had a board corral with 2 boards that were pulled together by ropes hinged at the bottom to catch a cow by the neck. But Dad wasn't satisfied with it, and then the neighbor came home with a steel head gate, and but he looked at it and said, "Don't put that up, I'll build you a good one." Well, Dad's idea was, no, it's not the way that should work. That head gate should fall completely open, be wide as a barn door, and let that cow walk right through the front. Just trip it, open, she walks out. And that entices the next cow to walk in, following her. So he built that, showed it to the neighbor, and he said, "Oh yeah, sure, I want that." So Dad built him a nice one. He wouldn't sell him that prototype. We didn't even know what the word prototype meant back then. But he wasn't a draftsman, he wasn't an engineer, he wasn't a machinist, but he could build anything. So that's where the idea for the head gate came from.
Marvin went on to patent this invention, as he had many others, but this time he took it a step further and decided to manufacture and sell the item himself. His first shop was a 1-room building with a dirt floor.
We were a 2-man shop, or a 1.5-man shop, because Dad could go to Talco, buy enough pipe for $25 to build 3 head gates. Bring the pipe home, weld the head gates up, paint them silver, change his clothes, put them in the same pickup, and go out and sell them to local farmers for $38 a piece.
Marvin soon realized that he needed more help if he was going to continue to grow his business. He reached out to his brother Corbin, asking him to join the company as a traveling salesman to recruit more dealers.
Uncle Corbin became a partner. Corbin Priefert moved over here from Richardson, Texas, north of Dallas, and he became our salesman.
I joined him in '66. He already had 11 dealers. He says, I've kind of got the ball rolling now. And he said, but my sales help. When they make money, they get drunk, and then they don't show up for work. And he said, it just doesn't work out, Corbin. He said, I want somebody that's dependable. And he grabbed my shirt and he said, I want you to help me.
Corbin, Coach Priefert, became the first official salesman, traveling a 38-state area to recruit more dealers for Priefert manufacturing. As a result of the booming cattle market in the late 1960s, Marvin had to build a larger production facility and started hiring additional employees to keep up with demand.
Yeah, Uncle Corbin started selling and traveling farther and farther out, setting up more and more dealers, and we were getting more and more orders by telephone and by postcard. And so our little 2-car sized shop was too small.
We got too big for the little shop, and I don't know, I know we had 25 people out in this little shop, but they needed more space, more office space, and it was just growing that much.
When Bill returned home from college in 1970, he went to work with his dad and quickly took a leadership role in the company, overseeing purchasing, sales, and production.
In the cattle equipment business was great guns. 71, 72, 73. Fall of 73, 500-pound calves got up to $1 a pound.
Well, all of a sudden the cow market broke, and they had chutes lined up down the hills from the shop.
We didn't have much demand, but the thing that was everyone was excited about was big round bales of hay.
Once again, Marvin's innovations and inventions helped the company continue its forward motion.
We worked on dozens of ideas on our hands and knees, wore the knees out in our pants. So Dad and I got to work building machines that would work. We built a fork for the tractor, but then we went right on to building a machine that would work behind the pickup to load bales without hydraulics, without electrics. Then Dad come out of the shop and rolled his hand up on a spare tire and said, this is the way to pick up hay. So we built a machine that when you pulled the lock, the forks would back down, back under the bale. It would lock when it got down. You'd drive away and pull the lock and it'd trip up. A great machine. Called it the hay dolly.
As Priefert's product line continued to expand, so did the Priefert family. Bill and his wife Shane welcomed their first child, a boy named Edward, in 1974. 2 more sons followed, William Nathan in 1976 and Travis in 1978. With the demands of a growing family and a growing business, Marvin brought in his son-in-law, David Bynum.
By me getting into the sales department and being there where I could report to them, and they didn't have to worry a lot about what was going on. Marvin was designing new products, and Bill was updating and upgrading the machinery in the shop. And so that let them focus more on that.
In the late 1970s, Priefert was outgrowing its production facility. In 1980, Marvin and Bill built a new 27,000 square foot facility alongside Highway 271 and moved the entire operation.
We built a brand new 27,000 square feet. And the time we moved in, it was full. That's how crowded we had been down on the farm.
In 1984, 20 years after inventing his headgate, Marvin introduced another revolutionary advancement in the livestock industry, a panel featuring a chain connection with a fishhook top and a J-leg frame.
So by '84, the corral panel fever was hitting the country real hard. Our salesmen were hearing the demand out on the road, selling head gates and squeeze chutes and hay dollies. And David Bynum was our sales manager, and he was hearing the demand.
in the sales end of it, we'd come up with something new. Well, Bill and I'd get together and propose to Marvin what we needed and the things we needed to solve in a corral panel. And on a connector, we wanted a connector that would connect 1, 2, 3, or 5 ways, and were non-directional. And so we thought we had him really stumped. Next morning he came in and said, I got it figured out. And he threw a piece of chain on the table. He said, that's all it takes. And that's how the chain connector on the panels got started. It was a pretty big uphill deal to sell it in the beginning because everybody was used to pins and loops and thought they were better, until they used the chain and loop. And everybody figured that out pretty soon, that it was a lot better system.
This premier panel was the first panel to effectively bridge the gap between cattle and horse markets by offering a single panel design that was tough enough for cattle, yet safe enough for horses. By the mid-'80s, Priefert offered galvanized panels, gates, and fencing, along with their cattle and hay equipment lines, and their dealer network covered the central and eastern U.S. In 1987, the decision was made to expand westward. Bill's always been a visionary about progress, about moving forward, and I think they were excited. Yes, he and Marvin both were excited about the opportunity to expand our territories. Well, there was not much to go on. I didn't have much knowledge about the West. I'd been out there a little bit, but really hadn't traveled it extensively and didn't have a lot to go on. So what I proposed to do was just to go find the best farm and ranch dealers throughout the western United States that I could find. Within a few years, the Priefert dealer network stretched from coast to coast. This growth quickly led to more expansions of the plant and production facilities. In 1988, Priefert released the first open-sided sweep system and the first double pivot calf table on the market. However, amidst all the success and growth, 1988 also dealt a devastating blow to the Priefert family.
Dad died of cancer and heart problems in October of '88.
He had lung cancer. They didn't think he'd live for 2 years because he had no circulation to his heart, but he did.
Of course, Dad was a bad smoker. Smoked an awful lot after he was in World War II in the Navy. And when he came home, he was smoking. His brothers didn't smoke, but 4 brothers. They're living into their 90s, healthy, happy, working, doing what they want to do. But Dad died at age 65.
Bill says, Mom, do you care if we bury Dad? We always planned on building a house up there on the hill. It's a beautiful spot because you can see the whole valley and the lake. And I said, no, I don't care. So that's how the cemetery got started. Because that's where we put Daddy. So he's with us all the time.
Following the loss of his dad, Bill stepped up and took the reins to help guide Priefert manufacturing forward and to carry on his father's legacy. Under Bill's leadership, the 90s were a period of rapid growth and expansion for Priefert manufacturing. The company aggressively began diversifying, expanding its product line as well as expanding its manufacturing facilities. Products like horse stalls, D-gates, utility panels, the Model 93 squeeze chute, premier dog kennels, the litter saver, and many new horse and cattle feeders were introduced in this decade. The infinite locking system, as well as the release of the Model 91 and 97 head gates were introduced. Priefert also released a roping chute, which quickly became the most dominant chute in the sport of roping and allowed the company to dip its toe into the rodeo market for the first time.
We're talking about a $100,000 payday here in this Priefert U.S. Open, 100% payback, stepping up.
Two of the most significant manufacturing advancements introduced into the 90s were the additions of Priefert's first tube mill and a state-of-the-art powder coating line. In 1999, the company also added a slitter, giving them the ability to purchase raw master coils of steel and then oversee each step of the production process. In just over a decade, Bill had helped lead Priefert to become a vertically integrated company. As Priefert entered the 21st century, Ed, Nate, and Travis finished college and came home to assume their role as the company's third generation of leadership. Priefert manufacturing was expanding rapidly now and employed over 200 people. Bill and the boys quickly realized the need for better accounting and more aggressive marketing practices. In 2000, they hired David Smith as the first Chief Financial Officer of Priefert Manufacturing. The following year, they hired Jeff Rash to help push the Priefert name into the spotlight.
David Smith had already been here about a year and really was already doing a lot of great changes, financially for the company. A lot of positive changes in motion, and Bill was really trying to grow off of that. He wanted to not only improve the financial position of the company, he wanted to change and move the marketing forward and sales.
The company quickly began to expand its dealer network worldwide. With this expansion came the need for more manufacturing facilities and automation. In 2004, Rocky Christenberry was promoted to production manager to handle the task.
The decade of the 2000 to 2010 era, the growth was just crazy phenomenal. It began with expansion into different types of machinery. How can we automate this process? How can we speed up production?
The last decade or so, the 2000 to 2010 range, that decade was just explosive. I remember when I first got here, we had our price list was about 2 pages long. And at the end of that decade, it was nearly 50 pages long.
We looked at better machinery and faster machinery that we could build to automate the processing of tubing and storage facility. The CNC bridge cranes changed our whole plant, just be able to call up the item you need and withdraw it from the bridge crane. The added addition of a flattening blanking line, our first one of those, so we were able to get our sheet metal quickly and easily without having to order it. I think that when I look back, it's almost a blur at the things that were happening during that period.
During this decade, Priefert's product line exploded with hundreds of new items. The SO1 and SO4 squeeze chutes were introduced, as well as new rough stock and solid sweep systems. Priefert was now a dominant player in the cattle market worldwide. 5 new panel lines were introduced, as well as horse walkers, several new gate lines, hog and sheep panels, ponderosa fencing, and much more. Meanwhile, Priefert's dominance in the roping world continued to thrive. The automatic roping chute was introduced, and Priefert became a major sponsor of the USTRC, the NTRL, the Wrangler Championships, and many others. In 2005, Ed and his brothers began developing a revolutionary line of rodeo equipment with the help of some of the biggest names in the industry, including Tuff Hedeman, Mike White, Cody Lambert, and Chris Shivers. That same year, Priefert's rodeo equipment was debuted at the PBR World Finals in Las Vegas. The following year, a deal was signed with the PRCA, and Priefert became the official equipment company of the PRCA and the world-famous Wrangler National Finals Rodeo.
About 2005, actually 2004, I had some rodeo guys, some bull riders, national bull riders from the PBR come to me and said, hey, you need to start building bucking chutes. We'd already been asked by our sales reps, everybody else, that, hey, we need to be building bucking chutes. In my mind, I was like, how big of a market can bucking chutes be? We might sell 15 a year. Well, so we talked to stock contractors, we talked to the guys riding bulls, and we talked to the event centers. And we married the 3 together to make the best bucking chute possible for safety and quality of the sport. We sponsor a lot of different events all over the nation. We sponsor a lot of cowboys, cowgirls. Truly honored to do so, but one of the places that I am most honored, and I know my dad is most honored to be associated with, is the South Point Casino in Vegas. They've even named their arena and their pavilion after us, called the Priefert Pavilion, and we're ecstatic and very excited to be associated with the South Point.
As the decade progressed, so did the Priefert marketing machine.
You know, we had a great product. There was no question about it. Priefert builds the best product in the industry. We just had to get really good at telling the people about it and doing it for as cheap as we could. We're a small company. We did a lot of things. We tried to diversify and really do some out-of-the-box things. You know, we bought the hitch, and then from the hitch, you know, we toured them all over the country, and from that we had the big horse program where we had 2 Guinness Book of World Record holders, and we traveled around the country with them. They made toys after them. We established a marketing department. We didn't have one, you know, in the early 2000s. We now do our own graphics, our own web, our own video. We even have our own sign shop.
In 2005, Priefert Logistics was created to help support Priefert's growing shipping needs.
Priefert Logistics was added in 2005 to better service our dealer network with ranch equipment. Since then, we've added trucks and fleet of owner-operators to carry our base of service out even to outside customers. Plus, Priefert Logistics has a very nice mechanic shop, work on over-the-road trucks, trailers for not only ourselves, but for outside customers also. Priefert Logistics has been a very beneficial addition to our company.
As Priefert's brand continued to grow, exposition centers began to take notice. Priefert stalls, walkers, hog and sheep panels, and other products were beginning to be used by the largest and most prestigious expo facilities in the world. This led to the creation of a new division called Priefert Complex Designs. As we grew into the markets for the expo centers and the fairgrounds and such as that, Bill wanted us to be able to help our customers develop their project from the inside out, so that we would design and help them make sure that the primary use of this facility was going to take into consideration the safety of the animals, the spectators, and the participants. It's been a very simple process to sell. It makes sense to whoever we sit down and talk to, and they understand, yes, design it from the inside out, and that way we can put the shell on it and make it look like whatever we want to. But let's don't build the building first and then try to fit something inside of it that wasn't designed for. Although the millennial decade brought unprecedented growth and expansion for the company, the decade was not without its share of hardship.
It was a phenomenal decade for growth. It was good, but we also had our share of tough times. I remember 3 weeks after I came to work here, 9/11 happened, and the world changed overnight. Consumer confidence was down. You know, we all remember that. That was a tough one to get through. And then the 204 steel tariff prices happened. Steel was very turbulent. It seems like we were doing price increases every 6 months. Droughts were popping up, major droughts all over the country. You know, very out of the ordinary. Probably the most devastating thing was the 2008 recession when it hit. You know, I remember it was very important for Bill he didn't want to lay anybody off.
The company began manufacturing wildlife handling equipment, including a complete working system for deer. Eddie, Nate, and Travis were also presented an opportunity to appear on a hunting show called Backward Bloodline.
Several years back, my brothers and I had an opportunity to join in on a hunting show, Priefert Backward Bloodline. Being involved with that hunting show, we got to meet a lot of ranchers, got to meet a lot of people in the industry, and that kind of led into the opportunities, because other people saw the abilities that we had in manufacturing. That led to the opportunities of building wildlife equipment. So we started building the deer chutes, the deer equipment, and deer feeders, and different things that help people use their land and make it better for wildlife.
2012 saw the opportunity for Priefert to add another division to the company, Priefert Steel Sales. With a high volume of steel consumption and processing abilities already in place, it was a natural transition for the company to expand its capabilities and product mix to meet the needs of other steel-consuming businesses.
So the 90s come around and we saw a need of processing our own steel. That led into the tube mill in the early 90s. which led into the 2000s into the slitter mills, which led us into roll forming and producing our own sheets. 2011, 2012 came around, and we were already selling to some local trailer companies around Titus County area. And we kind of decided to give it a chance and see what we couldn't do with it. So 2012 to really 2015, there was about 4 of us pushing it a little bit, and it started growing. 2016 hit, and we had purchased a plant out of Benton, Arkansas, and purchased another plant out of Fort Worth. So we grew the business really fast in a really short period of time, and now it's a major part of what Priefert does, and it's working out really good for us.
One of the reasons that we feel that we are successful is we are in touch with the ranching lifestyle. We have our own working ranch. We use the equipment ourselves, and then we decide to sell it. So we'll have an idea because we're out there working every day, doing things on the ranch, have that idea and say, you know what, I believe we can sell this. And that's one of the successes of our business, is having a working ranch that we can use all the equipment, know that it works right, know that it works correct, it's good quality, and it's gonna last a man forever.
While the years have brought many changes for the Priefert family and their business, some things have remained the same. Marvin's son Bill and his grandsons Eddie, Nate, and Travis continue to carry on the tradition he began. Motivated by the pride of ownership and the challenge of finding a better way, the Priefert family has built a business focused on meeting the needs of the American farmer and rancher. Hard work, good people, a willingness to step outside the box, and abundant blessings from God have allowed the company not only to grow and prosper, but also to earn a strong reputation in the industry for integrity, quality, and reliability. Bill has experienced the progression of the family business from a one-room dirt floor shop in the backyard to one of the largest farm, ranch, and rodeo equipment manufacturers in the world. He and his family are a true testament to the American dream and are proud to produce a quality product that's made in the USA.
I want to give thanks to all of our employees. You are the people that brought us 50 years. You're the people we depend on. You are the people that we love. And we thank you from the bottom of our heart. The whole family does.